You are watching Conscious Evolution with Wes Heffernan.
Failure wasn't something, it wasn't that success was drilled into me, but it was that failure was not.
Right.
Right?
There was no fear of it.
And so I did, later in life, get the success driven into me by my baseball coach, by my uncle, by my dad in some ways, right? And so I did have that, but that wasn't until after I had coalesced those first, specifically those first 7 and those first 12, that first masculine and feminine cycle, in a way that allowed me to go into those experiences with a really good relationship with myself, my internal dialogue, right? Which then, this is where we're kind of getting into what I realized we really diverge from the ocean, is that I wasn't getting beat up by my dialogue, right? My dialogue was my source of love and compassion while I was getting beat up by the baseball coach and by my dad and by my uncle. And I mean that in the nicest way, right? Coaching, right? Like, I'm gonna give him props for a minute. Like, his son was my best friend coming up in high school, and we ultimately ended up, our paths diverging, and it wasn't necessarily the greatest way. And for sure, when I was in high school, early college, and during these periods of times, I was in a place of darkness and trying to figure myself out. So, all that, I know all this and I accept all that. But Coach Lewis is such an amazing man, baseball coach. He may be the winningest high school baseball. I think for sure he has more wins than any other coach in the country for a single high school.
Wow.
Right? He has I think it's over 800, or it might be over 1,000. I'd have to look the video up and see, but that happened this past year.
And what high school is this?
Harlem High School. And so, like, our county.
What city?
It's Augusta, but Columbia County. And I mean, there was this whole thing with Columbia County used to always win. We played in the Dixie, not the Little League, but the Dixie League. And so you played up to your 18, and out of those like 6 different divisions of ages, like Columbia County would win 2 or 3 of them every single year. The World Series. My best friend has 3 World Series rings. His coach's son has 3 World Series. Right? Our county, not just Harlem, but our county was like unbelievable. Like, Evans was #1 in the nation, which was our 4A back when it was the big school. They were #1 in the nation and tied the most wins in a row for any high school in the nation, 56 games in a row win streak.
Wow.
To back to back. Right. Like, so like
there's leadership right there. That's that coach.
And like, just to talk a little bit about the process and the mindset that I had going into this process. So, in January we started our tryouts, but it wasn't with a bat and ball and gloves. It was, okay, you're gonna come out here for 2 weeks straight. This is what you're gonna do. Every single day you're gonna pop out and we're gonna run a little 3.2 miles. And then you're gonna come and we're gonna do, 30 stairs up and down. You're gonna do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 jumping jacks, 35 bench hops. You're gonna run 200s, 550s, 1010s. You're gonna grab a tire on the rope, put it around you. You're gonna run 2 440s with that. And then you're gonna come back tomorrow and you're gonna do that again and again and again. And after this 2 weeks, you'll get to put on a ball or a glove and grab a ball and grab a bat and show me if you deserve to be on the team.
If you make it through that.
Right, so if you make it through that, then you actually get to try out for the team and see if you will even make the team based on.
How bad do you want it?
He never had I think in my 4 years there, he didn't have to cut anybody, right? Because the point of it is you didn't go through that. Like, by day 3, you knew everybody in the school that was trying out for baseball. They couldn't move, right? They're like, looked like 90-year-old man walking, except for there's a few that played, maybe played football and ran track, and right. I played basketball my freshman and sophomore year, so I was in pretty good shape. But still, the push-ups and the sit-ups and all these other aspects of it, I mean, it's still just so much every day. And so, the whole county operated not necessarily like that, but all of them did. Coach Holder, I'm saying names. So Coach Lewis was the Harlem coach. Okay. Coach Holder was the Evans coach. I think he moved on eventually, and that's how Coach Lewis overtook the most wins by one coach in a single school. Coach Holder's the one that led Evans to being #1 in the nation, 56, all that kind of stuff. But right, so we had this grand opportunity to have, this coach that helped push in ways that he would give you the shirt off his back and he'd go to bat for you 1,000%, but he expected 120%. It was like giving 100% wasn't enough, right? You had to give 120%. The only way to do that was to have something fuel you, right? Like, because 100% of you is 100% of you. So where's that other 20% come from? And it's from that demand. Like, mostly a great movie, The Water Boy, right? It's the tackling fuel. It's that anger. And so, like, during that particular period of time in my life where I'm trying to figure out how to deal with the darkness that, like, say, my son and most, all these other 20, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds are going through, I moved from a place of being balanced and, whatnot, at least being secure and not struggling like I am with words right this second, struggling with survival, into this environment where, okay, now I'm having to deal with, like, I can get pissed off and quit. Right?
It's a sport.
I don't have to do this. Right? But yet, what I got from that is, like, priceless. And the number of people, to go back into giving him the props he deserves, the number of kids, teenage, high school boys that, be careful how I say this. The number of high school boys that this man has helped in life to show the way. Now, whether they choose or not to use it, right? He's embedded within them the capacity to understand what it takes to succeed.
Right, at high level.
At the very highest level, for high school especially. Right? And that's he represents such a huge part of understanding how to navigate that next step in life, right? Like, here's how to succeed. So, like, how to survive. Boom. How to succeed.
Right.
Boom.
Take those lessons from here and use them in life.
It was just, it flowed like water for me, right? And so there wasn't this real struggle. Even when there was a struggle, there was zero doubt. Right? It was never, okay, I don't know where the money's going to come from. I don't know how I'm going to pay rent next week, babe, right? But just trust me. And boom, something, whatever, right? It always worked out. And, like, I've never been able to really explain it anything more than that's just, like, I just believe that. But now, from where I am, from the things that have occurred over this last week, through all the events of sitting down with y'all, sharing all this with you, in a journey into the abyss, building the Rockman universe, like, all this is to a place now where I think I can really begin to tell the story. And this is something that we did touch on in Chapter 2, A Journey Across America, about telling stories, right? And again, that's all this is. It's my story, sure, right? But that's all it is a story. And how do you tell stories? Well, you have to have an imagination. You have to be able to use creativity. You have to be like what? You have to be like a child. And that thought didn't fully come together till, it was last night or night before last, maybe, in a comment that I made on a Facebook post communicating with this person. And it really hit home on what that means, like, right, to be like a child. And you can't...
Because they're like a sponge.
Well, yeah, right, but more than that, the amount of imagination and creativity they have. Right, and I mean, we can get into some of these metaphysical. I don't even know if this would fall into that category, but the idea that the place in the center of your brain, and it calcifies, and that's kind of where your imagination, your creativity center is. And as you age, it calcifies and becomes less active, and that's why as adults, like, we lose our imagination and our creativity, and we get locked into these boxes and cycles that we're not adding anything to ourselves to come back around through our journey, right? While this thing goes around, we're moving like this, and we catch back up to it, and we never take the time to turn and look and analyze and actually add to who we are now. Then we can't be that. And so boom, it resets. And you go through that cycle again as you move to where you think you want to be, but you didn't actually make yourself who you needed to be to do that. And so boom, it resets and we're locked in these boxes. Where we're not actually asleep, right? Again, going back to the, but we're not, in the sense of the universe, we are, right? And it's, you know, so like we're born out of our mother's womb into the womb of Gaia, into the womb of the universe, into this next boundary, right? And so until we're born again out of that boundary, we're really not alive, right? We're dead. And so when you begin to think of things in this way, stories in the Bible begin to take on a different meaning and a different, and so, you know, what does it take to be born again? Well, you have to tell your story. You have to live your story.
Thanks for watching. Join us next time on Conscious Evolution. Don't forget to subscribe.